right, guys, welcome to a playoff Saturday edition the the Fifth Down Sports Show. Um, we're here. We're just getting ready for the playoffs, so we're going to go through each and every NFL playoff game, talk about it, and break it down the only way that we know how, which is position by position. We'll give you picks on the game. And of course, if you want to get involved, by all means, hit up the stream, hit up the chat. We'll get you in here. We'll get you on the show. I'm actually going to do that right now. Going to post the link in the chat. If you're watching live and you want to get in, by all means, hit up the link, and we'll bring you on. We'll talk everything. We'll talk everything and anything. Everything and anything is on the table until we have to get ready for this. As we go here, good to see Rod already in the chat, already starting trouble in the chat. Seahawks by a touchdown, says Rod. We'll get to we'll see what we let the evidence show us. So we'll break it down and we'll see where when we break it down, we'll be telling you, all right, here's where certain teams have an advantage. Here's where the other team has an advantage, and here's what they need to do to win. So that's how we'll do it, because that's how we always do it. And then, of course, we'll give you our picks when we do the game. So that's the plan for today. That's the plan going forward. As we go here, a couple of things that I just want to get off my chest before we get to the playoffs. And it's something that I've been watching and something that I've been seeing and something that I'm trying to preemptive. All right. You know us. If you've been following the show, we've been doing this is our sixth season. We'll be doing our sixth NFL draft coming up. And you know me, I love the NFL draft. So, but what we love to do is not give you, all right, here's who this team is going to take. We don't tell you that. I'm not sitting there calling up the teams and saying, hey, who are you going to draft? I tell them who I would draft in that position. I give you the list of players. I just checked out the East-West Shrine game. I just checked out the NFL, the Senior Bowl list. It's a good list so far. But here's what I want people to understand about the draft process. When you're watching the Senior Bowl, the game is almost irrelevant. What people do on Sunday when they play, on Saturday when they play, whenever they play the game, I think it's on a Saturday. Whenever they play the game is inconsequential. What matters is when you watch during the week, when you watch those Senior Bowl practices, that's when you get to see what guys are. And you talk about the guy Strange that got drafted by the Patriots. He was found at the Senior Bowl last year. Guys are found at the Senior Bowl when they're going up against other top-level talent. That's what you want to see. So people could say, oh, Max Duggan's going to play in the Senior Bowl. He could have a horrible Senior Bowl game, okay? But he could throw. You could see him throw in practice and see him make every throw and see him doing certain things. That's what people are looking at. They're not looking at what happens in the game. They're looking at what guys do during the week, and that's what's important. But what I also want you to understand is you're going to hear a lot of stuff during this next couple weeks. During up until April, you're going to hear a lot of people tell you, oh, the Chicago Bears, they need to draft an offensive tackle. They need to draft an offensive tackle if the offensive tackle is the best player on the board. They need to draft an offensive tackle if he's the best offensive lineman available. What I've been telling everybody is, look, the Bears need offensive line help. And I've heard this said by draft analysts all the time. You can't take an interior lineman number one. Why? If they're the best player in the draft, if they're going to be a part of your team for 10 years, why wouldn't you draft them at number 1? Why wouldn't you take them if they're the best player? I bring up the examples. Zach Martin. Zach Martin, in his draft for the Dallas Cowboys, was the best offensive lineman in the draft, and he fell all the way to the Cowboys, I think at 20 or something. Anybody in their right mind would have given up what they had for Zach Martin to draft Zach Martin. Kelsey with the Eagles. You wouldn't want that guy at center. You wouldn't want to draft that guy and have him on your team for 15 years. I mean, come on. These are guys that are going to be that. These are the decisions that make or break your football team. If you take an offensive tackle who's a project at number 1, guess where you're going to be drafting again next year? Back at number 1, because you didn't get the quality talent. So that's what when everybody's telling you they have to do this, that, or the other thing, that's irrelevant. That's not how the draft works. That's not how you make the draft work for your team. You make the draft work by taking the best player who's going to help your team. And I've said again, I haven't done my full breakdown of where guys are. But I'm sitting here right now. I would tell you right now, take the center from Michigan right now. Outland Trophy Award winner. Best run blocker in the game. Best blocker in the game. That's the guy I'd be looking at if I'm the Chicago Bears, because I can build around him. I don't need to take Paris Jackson, who's a project at left tackle. He's a monster of a left tackle from Ohio State. I don't need to take that project on if he can't get in right away. If I have to slot him at right tackle for a year and let him get acclimated to the game, well, that's a problem. I need guys who can play right away and guys who are going to be all-star guys in 2 or 3 years. That's what you need to get at number 1. So don't fall into this trap of, well, we can't take an interior lineman. No, you can take a guard. You can take a center. Take the best player available. We all know the Bears need offensive line. So take the offensive lineman and go do that. So as I wanted to get that out while we're doing our playoff stuff. But we're going to get into our playoff stuff. But I wanted to get the draft off my chest, because as much as the NFL draft is going on, as much as the NFL playoffs are going on, if you've listened or been a part of this program for as long as we've been doing it, I'm an NFL draft junkie. I will talk NFL draft. I will talk NFL draft during Super Bowl week. That's how much I love the NFL draft. So that's what we're doing. So that's what I just want everybody to focus on the right things during the draft, because there's going to be so much said, so much going on, so much back and forth. Who's going here? Who's doing that? Who's trading? Who's doing this? Don't let that get in the way of who your team should pick. If you're sitting there saying, who should my team take? Well, we're going to be breaking it down. We're going to do that. We're going to do top players by position. We'll do offense 1 week. We'll do defense the next week. We'll put our guys in a top, the top 5 at each. Then we'll do, a top 30, our top 30, our top 50 list. And it will change. It just because you say something the first week doesn't mean it doesn't change when we get to see guys at the combine, when we get to see guys go through workouts, when we get to see, evaluate the tape of what guys are seeing. I'm just going off what I've seen already. And that's another thing. And, teams have been fooled into this many a times. And I point to you, New York Jets, who fell in love with Kyle Wilson. Well, how's that working out for you? They fell in love with Kyle Wilson at a workout. Workouts, you're supposed to look good in the work. If you don't look good in the workout, then there's a problem, because workouts are scheduled. You got guys throwing passes to guys that they know. You got them throwing in t-shirt and shorts like that. It's scripted for them to look good. If a guy looks great at a workout, you go, all right, you looked good at the workout. Let's go back and look at the film and see see where this plays out on the field. If a guy doesn't look good at it at the workout, then you got to go, wait, there's an issue here. Then there's an issue. Workouts can they either tell you what's going to happen, or they make you go back and look at it and say, wait, why did this happen? Why did something unexpected happen? The same thing happens at the combine. When you're doing NFL draft coverage like we do, everybody looks at, oh my God, this guy ran such a blazing fast 40. All right. If they're expected to run a fast 40, then you go, all right, he ran a fast 40. Good. If they run a slow 40, you got to go, wait, what just happened? And you got to go back and look at it on the film. Because there are guys that run 4.2 40s that when you put shoulder pads and put guys in front of them, they're not as fast. They don't look as fast. There are other guys that run 4.5 40s that you watch them and they're burning by people because they run routes better, because they can stick their foot in the ground and make a quick move rather than the straight ahead speed. So there's a lot of variables. What you have to do is match the variables up. What you have to do is say, all right, this guy ran really fast at the combine. Why doesn't he look as fast on the field? And then you have to find that out. If a guy doesn't run fast, you have to go, all right, why didn't he run a fast 40 when I see him burning defensive backs? So that's how I break down the NFL draft. That's why the NFL draft to me is a fluid process. It's not, all right, this is my number one guy and I'm sticking with it. No, it could change week to week. It could change. It'll change many a times from here till April. But we will dive into it. Because if you're doing a deep dive, it should change because you're getting new information. You're getting you're bringing it all in and laying it all on the table. That's what we try to do. We don't try to tell you, hey, here's who you should pick, and if you don't pick them, that's stupid. No, what we try to do is tell you, here's the guys that are entering the draft. Here's their strengths. Here's their weaknesses. Here's who I would pick. Here's why I would pick them. And if your team picks somebody else, I'm not the one that's going to sit there and go, oh, you should have why did you take Daniel Jones instead of Dwayne Haskins? I mean, that we don't do that here. You can go back and listen to my program when Daniel Jones was drafted and laughed at by everybody on the ESPN. Everybody on the panel fell out of their chair laughing at this kid when the Giants picked him. Well, guess what? He's playing in a playoff game tomorrow. So all those people that laughed at him, they owe him an apology. And he's too classy of a guy to ask for one. I'm not. Y'all should be down on your knees apologizing to this guy for the way you treated him on draft night. And that's fuel for Daniel Jones every day, that he gets to watch that and go, these guys laughed at me, I'm going to make them pay. And as he should. All right. Speaking of the playoffs, let's get right into it. Let's get into it so that we can get in, get out of here, and go watch some great games and go hang out with the guys. Of course, 49ers fans down at the bar, I'm sure they're watching. I'm sure they're going to be watching the game, getting ready. Of course, my team doesn't play till Monday night, so I get to just enjoy in the in all aspects of it. So we'll get that going. But let's start right there with the 4:00 game. 49ers at home against the Seattle Seahawks. Every game is a rematch, which some people have said, oh, it's good because, it's hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. It's, these teams know each other. To me, I don't like these rematch. I don't like rematches. I like to see playoff games that are interesting matchups that we get. I don't like to see a matchup that I've already seen during the regular season. It's hard. It's hard for me to get into it because I've already seen this game. I know how this plays out. So, but anyway, Seahawks and 49ers. So let's start where the game is won and lost. Where the game is won and lost on the offensive lines. Well, the 49ers have a very, very good offensive line. Trent Williams is an all-pro player. He's been an all-pro player. They have a very good offensive line. You see the holes that they make for the running game. They have kept Brock Purdy up and allowed him to do what he does. So in that aspect, offensive line, the Seattle Seahawks their offensive line is better than it's been, but it's not where it should be. It's not the Walter Jones eras of the Seattle Seahawks. So in this case, I would put offensive line in the category of the San Francisco 49ers for offensive line. All right, let's move to the defensive line. Defensive line, the 49ers have Nick Bosa and the Seattle Seahawks don't. That's what we're looking at. The Seahawks have actually struggled to get pressure on the quarterback this year. So defensive line is 49ers. Linebackers. Well, the Seahawks lost their best linebacker to free agency. They really haven't replaced Bobby Wagner with somebody in the middle who can call that defense. The 49ers have three great linebackers on their team. So, again, checklist to the 49ers. Defensive backs. This is where, we've seen San Francisco struggle. Jarrett Stidham was able to carve up this secondary. So this is where Seattle has an edge. The problem is I don't think it's enough of an edge to weigh out anything else. So I'll give defensive backs to Seattle. They got the rookie corner who leads all rookies in interceptions. So they've got some players there, but they need to, they've got the advantage there. The problem is the 49ers are a team that they don't make mistakes on the outside. And the matchup that's going to be hard for them without Jamal Adams is who's going to cover George Kittle. Who's going to cover Kittle? Who's going to make that who's going to make that happen? So I would say Seahawks have the advantage in the secondary. Now let's shift to the offensive side of the football. And we talked about the offensive line already. Running game. This is pretty even. And to say that Christian McCaffrey, what puts Christian McCaffrey over the edge is Christian McCaffrey can do other things other than running the football. And we've seen now I'm blanking on but Walker. We've seen Walker, a rookie. Two things about rookies in the playoffs. They've never played this far into their career. You know, whether you're in high school or college, you're usually done by now. You're usually done about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So these guys, that's why rookies in the playoffs, they tend to kind of taper off as we go. So we'll have to see if Kenneth Walker can ramp it up for this game. I think it's a slight edge to the 49ers, which says how good Kenneth Walker is, because Christian McCaffrey is a great running back. And the 49ers have a stable of running backs that Kyle Shanahan uses. So it will be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what can happen. But I'm going to put it slightly in the 49ers category. Wide receiver, this is where Seattle has the edge on the wideouts. When you add in the tight end, San Francisco takes over. Because I know everybody's going to say, oh, how can you say that when the 49ers have Deebo Samuel? Okay, they have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Okay? And Juwan Jennings. Seattle's got DK Metcalf and Javon Curse. So you're talking about two guys that have been there before and have made big plays in big spots. So I'm going to give the edge on the wide receivers to Seattle, but once you add in George Kittle changes the equation because he is a big target in the passing game. Now, Brock Purdy and George Kittle have not been on the same page, in most of his starts. And I said it on the lunch crew, the dinner crew show that we did on Monday and I think it was Thursday night or one of those nights. We were I was hashing it up with Rod, and we were talking about why George Kittle and Brock Purdy haven't been on the same page. Well, tight ends, it's very hard to get from a third string quarterback to working with a tight end that you haven't worked with all season, because tight end passing routes you're going to get knocked off your course. You're going to be changing your route in mid stride. So the quarterback and the tight end have to be on the same page for them to be compatible. Now, when you're working in season practices, you're not getting that much reps game in and game out. So that's why you haven't seen George Kittle and Brock Purdy hook up. You've seen them hook up in the red zone because George Kittle is a red zone monster. So that's where I would go there. And now we're talking quarterbacks. Well, it's Geno Smith versus Brock Purdy. And I gotta say it's a push. I gotta say it's a push. Right now, Brock Purdy is playing. He's playing exactly how backups should play. I told you this when Cooper Rush was playing for the Cowboys. Backup quarterback, your plan is just don't turn the football over. So, and that's something Brock Purdy hasn't done. Now, Geno Smith, in games that he has faltered, he has turned the football over. That's where a turnovers kill in the playoffs. A turnover is a death sentence in the playoffs. So that's why, but Geno Smith has been there. There's something about experience that you have to have. And that's why I say it's even, because there are pros and cons to both guys. We don't sit on the fence here, so I won't give you a push. I will actually take a pick. I'm gonna roll with the new guy. I'm gonna roll with Brock Purdy because I like what I've seen out of him the last few weeks. I liked what I saw out of him at Iowa State. I like what I see here. So I got to go there. Now we go to the coaching staff. Now, this is probably the hardest matchup as far as coaching staffs go. You've got Kyle Shanahan and his group over there. They are fantastic. Kyle Shanahan knows what he's doing. The guy's been to a Super Bowl. The guy's coached as an offensive coordinator in the Super Bowl. However, you're going against a guy in Pete Carroll who has defied logic and has just there's nobody I respect more than Pete Carroll. The way he goes about doing his stuff, I love the way Pete Carroll is on the sidelines. The thing that throws me over the top is Ken Norton Jr. is on the Seattle Seahawks sidelines, and I am never going to go against Ken Norton Jr. So I will give the coaching, the sideline aspect to Seattle. So let's look at what we got here. We got San Francisco's got offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, running back, wide receivers, and tight end. They've got tight end covered. They've got quarterback. Seattle's got coaching, secondary, and the wide receivers. By my accounts, breaking this game down, and I'm gonna break it down here right now. I got San Francisco. I'm gonna take San Francisco, and I don't have a line on this game, but I would assume I would assume it's somewhere between 6.5. I would say the one thing I will say about this game, I think you take the 49ers and the under. That's how I think this game plays out. I'll say a score of 27-10. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with the 49ers over the Seahawks. All right. So you've seen how we're breaking this down. So let's go to the second game tonight, which is the Los Angeles Chargers. I still call them San Diego. I don't care. The Los Angeles Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and both teams are coming in pretty hot. The Jags had to go on a tear just to get here. The Chargers had to go on a tear just to get to the wild card. They lucked out by getting to play a night game, so they don't have to fly across country, do all that stuff, and play an early game. So that's a good thing for the Chargers. But let's start on the defensive lines. The Jaguars defensive line is still a work in progress. The Chargers have two bookend defensive ends. I'm going with the Chargers as having the better defensive line. Linebackers. Actually, I'm going to go. I like what the Jaguars have at the linebacker spot. I'm going to go with linebackers. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. Secondary. This is where it gets interesting, and it all depends on which Derwin James shows up. I've said this all throughout his career at Florida State. He is an immaculate athlete. I love Derwin James. I love what Derwin James could be. Derwin James could be the most athletic guy in football if he wanted to. So I'm going to give the edge to the Chargers in the secondary for this game. All right, let's go offensive line. The the Chargers have been a mess on the offensive line all year long. The Jaguars aren't much better, but I'm going to give them a slight nod over the Chargers as far as the offensive line goes. So I'm going to give that to the Jaguars. Now let's go to the backfield. Running backs, Austin Ekeler for the Chargers and Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne has been putting on a show the last couple weeks, showing you the guy that he was at Clemson, the ACC leading rusher all time. He's shown, or not even just rusher. He's most yards from scrimmage in ACC history. He's shown you that he can do that. So I'm sitting here. I'm going to tell you, that being said, it's still early in his career. I'm going to go with Austin Ekeler by a hair over Travis Etienne. I'm going to go with Austin Ekeler by a hair. So I'm going to give that one to the Chargers. Quarterback, you have Trevor Lawrence, who's come into his own with the Jaguars, and Justin Herbert, who everybody always tells me, Justin Herbert's going to have a breakout year, and then he's kind of just mediocre. And whether that's the play calling, whether that's the blocking in front of him, whether it's wide receivers being in and out of the lineup, it's very tough to figure out why Justin Herbert has games where he looks fantastic and he has games where he looks very, very pedestrian. So it's a toss-up. It's very close. I'm gonna go with Sunshine. I'm gonna go with Trevor Lawrence, and I'm gonna take the Jaguars. I'm gonna take Trevor Lawrence over Justin Herbert for right now. The way Trevor Lawrence has been playing the last couple weeks has been pretty lights out. All right, wide receivers. It should be in the Chargers camp, but Mike Williams has been injured in and out of the lineup. I don't even know if he's playing this week. He was injured last week. They're just beat up at receiver. Meanwhile, you've got the Jaguars with Zay Jones and Christian Kirk that have been able to put on a show and able to ramp it up. So I'm going to give the edge to the Jaguars in that one. Let's go to the sidelines now. This one's not even close. Brandon Staley has cost his team games this year. The fact that they made the playoffs is astonishing, but they should have been way better than they were this year, and most of it is because of the coaching situation. You got Doug Peterson on that sideline. You've got, I know he's not on the sideline. I know he's up there, but the influence of Tom Coughlin on this team is amazing. So you've got that going for the Jaguars. So I'm going to go with the Jaguars as far as the coaching. And in this one, again, I don't have a line on this game. It's probably close. But I'm going to take – so my pick, I'm going to take the Jaguars. I'm going to take the Jaguars over the Chargers. I'll take it 24-20. 24-20 Jaguars over the Chargers. And whatever your line is, you can adjust it there. You can adjust it for over under, but I gave you the score. All right. Let's move to Sunday and let's do some Sunday picks. We'll start with the Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. Bills hosting the Dolphins. Look, the Dolphins squeaked their way into the playoffs. We all know what's going on with the Miami Dolphins. And we know look, I've said this. People have said, "Oh, there's a possibility Tua can play." No, there's no possibility. There is no way this guy steps on the field. If he steps on the field, the NFL should be brought up on charges. I mean, there is no way you can allow a guy to have 3 concussions in a regular season and have him step on the field again. There's no way. So Tua's not going to be there. Teddy Bridgewater is still out. So you're going with Skylar Thompson at quarterback for Miami. So let's go through each and everything as we've done it. Defensive line, the Bills, I know they're minus Von Miller, but the Bills still have a better defensive line. It's close because I love Christian Wilkins on Miami. I love the defensive tackle position, but I don't think they have the edge pressure that the Buffalo Bills can get. So I'm going to go with the Bills having the better defensive line. Linebackers, it's not even close. It's the Bills by far. Secondary, the Bills, the Miami secondary has been a mess all season. It's been a mess all season long. So I'm going with Buffalo there. All right, running back. Neither of these teams run the ball, so it's kind of a push because neither of these teams have very good running games. You got Mostert for Miami, and you got Singletary for the Bills. I'm gonna give the edge to Singletary in the running game, but you also have to add in the quarterback running because that's what the Bills do. So you have to add that in. So I'm going to go with that there. So I'm going to give the edge to the Buffalo Bills. Their quarterback, Skylar Thompson versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen is one of the top 5, if not in the top 3 in the NFL as far as quarterbacks are concerned. So I'm going to go with oh man, bring my soda in here. All right, whatever. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Josh Allen, and it's not even close. Offensive line. This is the interesting part. I think Miami actually has a better offensive line than the Buffalo Bills. So offensive line, I'm going with Miami. That's pretty much the only spot. Wide receivers and tight ends, it's damn close. You got Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis with Dawson Knox going up against Miami with Waddle, Hill, and Gesicki. Now, the problem with Miami is Gesicki's such a good athlete, and they don't use him. I don't understand why Mike McDonald doesn't use the tight end in his offense, but they don't seem to utilize a weapon like Mike Gesicki is. So, with that being the case, I'm going to go with Buffalo because Stephon Diggs is an elite receiver. Gabriel Davis is a great slot guy, great number 2, and Dawson Knox is a very competent tight end. He's a great outlet for Josh Allen when he needs him. So I'm going to go with the Bills by a hair in the wide receiver tight end category. So there we go with that. So we got Bills have defensive line, linebacker, secondary, running back, quarterback, wide receiver. The only thing Miami has now on the sidelines, as we do head coaches, I'm going with the Bills as well. So if you can't tell, I think this is going to be Bills in a landslide. I'll take the Bills 31-13. 31-13. Bills over the Dolphins in Buffalo. on Sunday. All right, let's go to the second game. The Minnesota. Oh, we got Snowman coming in. Let's add him to the stream here. Snowman, how you doing? Oh, Snowman, what's going on, man?
What's up, dudes? Out RV hunting with the wife today, so we're enjoying ourselves. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to have you on. Let me just bring Rod into the equation here. We did.
Hey, hold up.
What's up, Rod?
You know what Geno Smith's gonna say today? About all your critique. You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna do some American Dream. I had hard times.
Hey, fuck Geno Smith. He's gonna get
I had
pummeled
hard
today.
times. Brock Purdy ain't
that's
gonna be better than me.
That's what Geno Smith said.
As I was just going to tell Snowman, I picked the game. We broke it down. I think the 49ers have an edge in almost every category, except for the secondary.
Yep.
Except for the secondary, and it's close, but on the sideline. I got to give the sideline to Pete Carroll and Ken Norton Jr.
I'm sorry.
Ken Norton Jr. is at UCLA.
But I still think it's 49ers 27-10. What do you think, Snowman? Let me get the 49er fan first.
35-17. 35. I'm giving Seattle 17. Look, I'm giving Seattle 10 points more worth of credit than I should. Hey, what's that thing on your head, Rod?
It's a hat. I just came from outside.
There you go. Yeah. You got it.
I got it like the Hoosiers. I got it like the Hoosiers.
I never asked Rod. Rod, where do you live, buddy?
I live in Delaware.
Oh, you live in Delaware? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lucy, come here, girl. I want y'all to meet somebody. Come here.
Oh, we got a puppy on the show.
Uh-oh.
This is Lucy. Yeah, Lucy's hanging out with me and the wife today. We're looking at RVs because we're planning to get the hell out of Indiana as quick as we can. You waiting for Mama?
There you go.
I took a few videos where I had one of my cats, Winnie, with me. Let me get this off for her real quick. There you go, Luce. There she goes. She's hanging out on the passenger side. My wife has an injured wrist, so I'm doing all the driving today.
Oh, that's so you're driving Miss Date. You're driving Dr. K.
Yeah, I'm driving. Usually Dr. K drives me because of my disability, but I'm driving Dr. K today, which is cool. Because according to what my son just
means at 3:30, Snowman's gonna be pedal to the metal to get home.
Fuck yeah, man! Actually, we got a subscription with us, so no matter how long we're out, we can still catch the game. We're good. Hey, Rob, what part of Delaware are you in, man? I didn't know you were in Delaware.
Right outside Wilmington area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's
ED.
Delaware State? Where's Delaware State?
That's in Dover.
Dover. Okay.
Dover.
Okay.
How far is that from you, Rod?
Like 45 minutes, maybe.
45 minutes.
Not
so
bad.
that's what, like 8 tolls?
Yeah.
Maybe like 2.
I drove through Delaware once.
I'm close
I
to
drove
UD.
through Delaware once.
Never
again. I was stopped at a toll every 5 seconds. I was like, "This, I can't do this."
Hey, that was us the first time we drove to North Carolina, because we took the direct route and we didn't avoid the tolls. So we had tolls from Campbell was it Campbell? No. From College of Charleston all the way through to Greensboro. We had tolls all over the place.
Yeah, I did. I drove to Maryland, and I was like, nope. On the way back, I went up through Pennsylvania. I went, nope, I'm not doing this. But so Rod, what do you got? What do you got for a score?
I have 27-21. I said it on Snowman in the Morning's show. Chat.
27-21. You got the Seahawks. So
they're the Seahawks.
The receipts will be flying one way or the other. We'll see how this game plays out.
Yeah, I just think Pete Carroll's a better coach than Shanahan.
We kicked Pete Carroll's ass, and we're going to kick it again.
I don't think
Let me scoot.
I don't think that's in. I don't think you can't dispute that. I mean, Pete Carroll has a Super Bowl.
Look at the clutchest moments
to prove it. So
look what Kyle does in the clutchest moments. What did he do? Lost a 25-point lead. Lost the Rams last year. You know what I mean? People forget about the biggest moments with his play calling falters.
Yeah, and people forget Pete Carroll threw on the goddamn 1 yard line.
Yeah,
kiss my fat ass.
Yeah, well, that's why Rod likes Pete Carroll. He threw
on the 1 yard line. All right, let me scoot. Wife's coming.
All right.
Depending on how long you're on and how long we're on the road, I'll try and hop back in. All right.
We'll be there. I'll be on. Right. I'll be on Tuesday, Snowman. Tuesday, I will be on to recap my game.
You got it. You got it. All right. Thanks, brothers. I'm out.
All right. Thank you, Snowman. All right, Rod. We heard what you said about the Seahawks. We just finished. We did Jaguars. We did Jaguars Chargers. What do you got for Jaguars Chargers?
I'm going with Jacksonville. I just think they're. I think Doug Peterson got them playing the best football right now, and I think it's a lot. You know what I mean? The Chargers, what the Chargers been doing all year, locking days are cool. You know what I mean? Play calling. A lot of receivers hurt. Keenan Allen hurt. Tight end hurt. Palmer doesn't know what he's going to be.
Keenan Allen is always hurt.
Mike Williams is hurt. They can't run the ball.
That's the problem I got with them.
You know what they kind of remind me of? They remind me of us. You know, the Patriots.
Yeah.
You have you got some tinsels there, but the coach gets in the way. You can't run the ball. We can run the ball. They can't run the ball. And look what Trevor Lawrence is doing with that play calling, you know what I mean, Doug calling. He's spreading out the defense. You know what I mean? Putting ET in the slot. I think it's just going to be too much, man. You know what I mean?
I tend to agree. I think it's going to be close. I don't know what the spread is on that game. I would assume it's somewhere around 1.5 to 2. But I took Jaguars 24-20. We just broke down Miami and Buffalo. What do you think about Miami and Buffalo?
Did you see the Alamo?
Yes.
There's going to be a slaughter like that.
I think so. I think so too.
Skylar Thompson, what you expecting to be Dan Marino? Like you can't. Yeah.
I mean, you look at what Skylar Thompson was able to put up. 6 points against the Jets last week. The Bills are going to eat. They're going to eat him alive. On that, so I do feel bad for that situation because I just picked it and I just put it 31. I put 31-10.
The best thing they could do is ask Tyreek Hill to run Wildcat and pray.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to run some creative some creative shit to get the Buffalo hungry defense off of you. Like you're gonna have to go do some Ronnie. What was that guy's name? Ronnie Brown on the Dolphins teams. You're gonna have Ricky Williams. You're gonna have to run some stuff like that with Waddle and the Cheetah.
And the one thing I don't understand about Mike Macdonald is you have a guy like Mike Gesicki at tight end, and you never use him.
No touches. How many
They
TDs
never
you
use
got?
him.
How many TDs? I bet only probably like 2.
I'm willing. I'll say it's probably less than that. He probably has about 3. I've watched a lot of Miami games. He gets about 1 pass a game and like 1 target a game. It's amazing because when he catches it in space, you see how athletic he is. But then they just never get him the ball. So
that's why I asked. Why don't you you knew in the game against us, Devin McCourty is old, probably 5'9", maybe 5'10" in cleats. That's a favorable matchup. You know what I mean? Put him, throw that thing up in the end zone. You know what I mean? In the red zone. They don't use him at all. They're so Cheetah happy and Waddle happy. Without a good tight end production, you ain't gonna win a lot of games. I'm just being honest with you.
They need to use all their weapons, especially in this one. And the X factor is Josh Allen. Josh Allen not only leading his team passing, leading his team rushing. I think the Bills are just too strong. All right, let's go to Giants Vikings, and we haven't done the breakdown yet, so let's do the breakdown. So, all right. Well, defensive line, I think it's close, but I got to go with my guy Dexter Lawrence. And
unless you bring Jared Allen back to be on the defensive line.
Yeah, I don't think he's walking through that door. I don't think the Purple People Eaters are walking through that door. So I got to go with the Giants as having the better defensive line. Mm-hmm. Linebackers, I got to go with Minnesota. I think Minnesota has the better linebackers. The Giants have struggled at linebacker. I think that's one of the things that they need to upgrade when they get going. But so I'll go Minnesota. Minnesota's got the better linebackers. Secondary, it's so close because both these teams have disasters in the secondary. But the Minnesota Vikings do have Xavier Rhodes, so I gotta go. I gotta lean Minnesota, but it's damn close, and it's not close because they're good. It's close because both these teams.
You're forgetting a Notre Dame legend.
Oh, the safety.
Yeah, how you gonna forget about him, man? He hits hard, man. He hits hard.
He does hit. He does hit hard, and the thing is, he makes plays when the ball's in his area. He'll make a play on it. So, Harrison.
Pat Peterson. Pat Peterson still there?
Yeah, that's why I think the Vikings have an edge. But the Vikings, they give up a lot of passing yards.
I think they're up there with Cardinals. I think Cardinals led the league in. But yeah, man, I agree with you on that.
The Vikings give up a lot of passing yards, but they're the Giant. I just don't see anybody in the Giant secondary that make. I mean, Landon Collins he made a pick against the Colts, and then what happened the very next play? Gets a penalty. That's Landon Collins for you. So I'll go Minnesota there. All right, let's go to the offensive side. Offensive line goes to the Vikings. The Giants' offensive line, it's better than it's been, but you got Andrew Thomas on one side, a second-year guy. You got the rookie out of Alabama that they drafted on the other side. So it's a young offensive line. It's getting better, but the Vikings have the better offensive line, especially with their I love who they have. I love their center. Their center takes the cake. So I'm gonna go Minnesota on the offensive line. Running back. This is where it gets interesting. Because career-wise, you would always go with Dalvin Cook. But on the field today, Saquon Barkley's a better running back.
What you mean career-wise?
career wise, because career wise, when you ask who's the better out of these two, Dalvin Cook or Saquon Barkley, you're going to say Dalvin Cook because he's had a better career. But it doesn't matter. Career doesn't matter in the playoffs. What matters is what's going on the field on Sunday. I got to give the edge to Saquon. The way he played this year, he's been injury free. I gotta give the edge to Saquon. What do you think?
I don't know, man. This is a toss up for me.
I also think it comes down to philosophy, and I think the Giants use their running back. They use Saquon Barkley a lot better than the Vikings use Dalvin Cook. So that's what pushes me over the edge a little bit.
I really don't like O'Donnell's play calling. Like I don't know. It's just something about it. Like
he gets it, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the play calling when we do the coaching.
Right.
So all right, we got running back, quarterback. We got Daniel Jones versus Kirk Cousins. Look, if this game were at night, I would take Daniel Jones, but it happens to be at 4:00, which is good because we know Kirk Cousins is the reverse vampire. He can only play during the day. When the night comes, he crumbles. Playoff games, he's crumbled in the past, but this is a first round. Kirk Cousins has been there. He's won games. I gotta go with Kirk Cousins over Daniel Jones. What do you think, Rod?
Like it's easy, man. He got Ferraris. Daniel Jones got, he got the three amigos. He got the Washington Redskins. He might got he doesn't have an Art Monk, but he just got three other guys. You know what I mean? So it's a totally different thing. So you got to go with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I think so as well. Now we get to the wide receivers. It's not even close.
It's a blowout.
Not even close.
It's a blowout.
No, I mean, you got Justin Jefferson. Probably you could argue he's the number one receiver in the National Football League. That's how good Justin Jefferson is. The Giants don't.
Slayton.
Who you gonna put on there? Slayton, Galladay, who had a touchdown.
A whole lot of money. Hold on.
Last week, but he's stealing money from the Giants. He hasn't done anything.
You can call him Bernie Madoff because he stole a lot.
He stole a lot of money from the Giants. So it's the Vikings, by far. So so let's see. And now we go to the sidelines, and this is where I like Brian Dable. I like what Brian Dable does. I like Brian Dable over O'Connell.
O'Connell, yeah. I was saying O'Donnell. O'Connell, yeah.
I like what Brian Dable does. I said it earlier in the season. He's not going to get bogged down here. He's not going to try to change the wheel. He's gonna do what the Giants do: run the football, and run the football some more. And he's gonna put Daniel Jones in good situations where he can pass. He's not gonna ask Daniel Jones to make 30-yard throws. That's because that's not in him. Now O'Connell, on the other hand, when you were saying you don't like the way he does play calling, I don't like it. I think he gets way too into the passing. I think he forgets. It's almost like he forgets that Dalvin Cook is there.
You gotta charge your SRT. Like, use them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not complicated. 2 + 2 is 4. Like, let them run.
And I think they rely on Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins. You can't rely. You can't do that. You can't rely on these guys all the time, especially when you have a guy like Dalvin Cook, who can make special things happen. I think they just go away from it way too much. And we didn't even talk about the trade that they made for T.J. Hockenson at tight end. I mean that's they got so many weapons on that offense, but Coaching side, I'm going to give the edge to the Giants. So here we go. Let's pick the game now.
I'm going with you on this one, man. I think, you know what I mean. He's a Bill Belichick disciple off the tree. I think, you know what I mean. Bill probably told him, man, look at the tape with us. You know what I mean. He said, look at that tape. You know what I mean. He probably gave some advice. Look at the tape, how they used to, what we did to Justin Jefferson. Try to, you know what I mean. I know you probably don't got the same athletes on the secondary, but try it. You know what I mean. I like the Giants, man, because I feel like the Vikings will come out there a little bit too cocky, man. And they're going to get shook. If they let this go up to 30-plus points, like they played with the Colts, the Giants are going to win it.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to pull a comeback here, but I'm going to go with Minnesota in this one at home. They've beaten the Giants already in Minnesota this year. As we've said, every one of these games is a replay.
Pretty much.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I'm gonna go with the Vikings, and I'm gonna take the Vikings. I'm just trying to think here. I'm gonna go 28-23. So
5 points.
Again, whatever, judge your, you can judge your spread and your over under. I'm giving you the score. I don't know any. I don't have any of these up. I'm just going off what I think.
What are your X factors? Justin Jefferson and Thielen.
My X factor is Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson. The Giants don't have an answer for those two guys. And
you don't think they can get any pass rush on Cousins? You don't think they can get through that line?
I don't. I think that's where Hawkinson's going to come in key.
So
because if the Giants do start getting pressure, all right, he can dump the ball off to the tight end. He can dump the ball to his running backs. So I think I think the Giants will keep it close, but I think Minnesota ends up pulling this one away. All right, let's go to Cincinnati at home against Baltimore. And is Lamar Jackson going to play or not? How effective is Lamar going to be? That's what this game comes down to. And this game is going to be make or break for Lamar Jackson. I mean, we've seen Lamar Jackson in the playoffs enough. If he plays, and I understand he's coming off injury and you got to do all that stuff, but after what I saw him do in Buffalo the last time he was in the playoffs, if he plays like that, but Baltimore needs to say, all right, we need to go in a different direction. Because as talented as he is, in the playoffs, he crumbles. What do you think?
We could say the same thing about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray got paid.
All right.
Josh Allen's not an MVP.
Kyler Murray had one playoff game. We have 3 playoff games under Lamar Jackson that he has come in as the better team and got absolutely destroyed.
With what? What receivers did he have?
There was the MVP season where they played the Titans, and the Titans absolutely mauled them. The next year they played the Titans again. The Titans mauled them.
Can he play defense, Deets? Can he play defense?
Then Buffalo. Well, that's the thing. Teams that play defense, play defense in the playoffs. You don't get to the playoffs.
Did the Ravens step up? Did the Ravens step up though? I saw this a stiff arm, and he took it to the house.
Yeah.
How many yards Derrick Henry had that game? Almost 200 plus.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, if the Ravens come out and Lamar, if they lose the game but Lamar looks good, then they could say, all right, maybe we can win with him. The last 3 playoff games that I've seen him, but they had to bench him in Buffalo. They had to bench him for Tyler Huntley because he was playing that bad.
I thought he got concussed. He fell.
He got concussed. They were going to pull him before that. I remember he got concussed on a play in the end zone, and I remember watching that game. It was 2 years ago. remember watching that game and thinking, all right, the Bills are going to be fine. No, the Ravens came out and I think they had something like 100 passing yards in 3 quarters. Huntley comes in and boom, 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 boom down the field, and it was like, all right, well, look what happens when you have a competent passing game.
That's like the same thing. Like look at Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush on your team. That playbook is different for Cooper Rush than Dak Prescott.
Well, that can't be that's what I'm saying. The Ravens have to look at this as, can we win with Lamar Jackson as our quarterback? Can we win playoff? Can we? Yeah, you could win. You could win 9 games in the regular season. Can you win a playoff game with Lamar Jackson? Because if you're going to sign him in the offseason, if you're going to sign him to one of these monster deals, whatever they are now, that's like 6 years, like, $25 million a year. If you're going to sign him to that, you got to be able to win. You got to be able to win in January. I don't care that you're going to get 9, 10 wins, win an MVP during the regular season. You got to do it if we're going to sign you long term, you got to be able to do it when it counts. So this is a big game for Lamar. Now, again, I don't know if he's playing or not.
He's not playing, but they're not gonna bench Dak Prescott if he loses this game on Monday. That's not gonna happen.
No, but Dak Prescott's not in a contract season. That's the problem.
I'm just saying.
I'm not talking about what happens in this game. I'm talking about for the future. The future, the Ravens have got to ask themselves, can we win in the playoffs? And
if they want to let him go, I know a lot of 30 other teams would grab him.
I know there's a certain team in Washington that would love to have Lamar Jackson.
So go ahead and release him and go to Tyler Huntley. I bet you won't get 10 games.
This is going to be interesting. I think this game gets ugly. I think this is going to be the ugliest of all the playoff games.
This game was going to get ugly regardless if he played or didn't play.
I think Cincinnati takes care of this one early, often, and I'm not even going to give it close. You said Lamar's not playing. I'll go 31-7. I don't even
31-7.
Yep.
You better put some more points on that, Deets. You better put another 10 points on that.
For the Ravens?
No. That the Cincy's going to blow them out by 40 plus. 40
all right.
Plus. Like, come on, man. They don't play. I'm telling you, ever since DeCostas took over this Ravens, where the defense been at? Where's that defense been? Steelers still got theirs. Cincy look like they got a better defense. When the last time we said the Cincinnati Bengals had a better defense than the Ravens?
It hasn't been since Vontaze Burfict was there.
like this is crazy. They lost the defense. They don't got no offense hardly. They're running the wishbone with Greg Roman. Like you're running the wishbone wing tee. Like this ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work in the NFL. Everybody runs the spread.
You know where their defense went?
Where did it go?
Their defense went to Michigan. Yeah, Harbaugh sent one of his best defensive coaches over to be the defensive coordinator in Michigan. Ever since then, this defense has gone downhill.
I thought the other coordinator, Martindale, and he was at the Ravens too. He's at the Giants, right?
Yeah.
DPs, yeah. DPs is at
That's what happens to these kinds of defense. That's what happens to these kinds of units. If you have a juggernaut offensive unit, well, your coaches start getting poached, and all of a sudden, the offense stops working. Defenses, you got these juggernaut defenses. Rex Ryan's defenses with the Bears, Rex Ryan's defenses with the Eagles. All of a sudden, coaches start getting pulled off, and all of a sudden, those defenses don't look so good. And that's what happened. That's what's going to happen with the Ravens. I think the Ravens get blown out. All right. Let's go. You know what? I was going to say, let's go to Monday night, but I know we got a show on Monday, so we might as well just save it and do.
No, I got to work Monday, so.
Oh, all right. So do I. I'm actually happy. I get to work and I don't have to sit there and sit through the Dallas Cowboys playing the Tampa Bay. This is the funniest. This is the weirdest game of all the playoff games, because let's just go through this. Defensive line, Dallas Cowboys. It's not even close. Linebackers, Dallas Cowboys. It's close, but it's still the Cowboys. You got Micah Parsons and Leighton Vander Esch, and I don't even know if Tampa Bay is going to have their middle linebacker for the game. So I'm going Cowboys. Secondary, it's not even close. It's Dallas way ahead in the secondary. Running backs, Dallas. Even with Leonard Fournette, Leonard Fournette is not the same Leonard Fournette that we've seen.
He's different in playoffs, though. Yeah, I get
he is. He does crank it up for the playoffs. That's one thing that he does do well, but still, the Dallas Cowboys have two, and Tampa Bay's got one guy.
You better not say CeeDee Lamb.
Wide receivers. It's not CeeDee Lamb. It's not CeeDee Lamb versus Mike Evans. It's CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, and T.Y. Hilton, and Dalton Schultz.
You're gonna have to make him into a transformer to make that work.
Mike Evans. It's the group. It's the wide receiver group versus Tampa Bay's with Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin is still hurt. I can tell you right now. Everything that I've seen from Chris Godwin this year, he's still that knee injury he had last year, it's not fully healthy. I can tell you that right now.
Is Julio playing or is he still hurt?
Julio, who knows? That's the issue with Tampa Bay is who's going to be on the field. And Mike Evans is a great talent. And against Carolina, he was amazing. That's the only game he's played really well this year. Every other game, I've seen him drop at least 3 or 4 passes that he should have. So he's struggled somewhat this year. All right. Offensive line, it's not even close. It's Dallas by a mile. That Tampa Bay offensive line is in shambles. So every single thing, every single one is in the Dallas. Every single position is in the Dallas Cowboys arena, except for one. And the last one at quarterback. Dak Prescott versus Tom Brady. Tom Brady in a playoff game? Now, yeah. It's Tom Brady, and it's not even close. And this is why I say this game should be Dallas by 6.5. And it's not. And it shouldn't be. And so that's what keeps it close. And that's what scares me. It should scare every Dallas Cowboy fan out of your mind that Tom Brady's on the other side, and we don't have Tom Brady. We have Dak Prescott. And not to mention the coaching staff, which this is the worst match. This is the worst coaching staff matchup of the playoffs. Both sides are terrible.
I don't know about that, Deez. I'm taking Brian Leftwich right now.
Are terrible, and Tampa Bay is just as bad.
I'm taking Byron Leftwich over Kellen Moore any day of the week. Any day of the week.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I'm not. I would take that as well. They're definitely
ran a draw with 10 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Kellen Moore. Look, Kellen Moore, just run the football. At least I'm not going to be watching the game to be yelling at my phone while I'm at work. I'm not going to be yelling at it, run the damn ball, as I would if I was watching at the bar. But again, my heart's going to be with the Cowboys. But my head says Tom Brady, 23-20.
You know what my heart's going to tell me? Tom Brady 7-0 against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And Mike McCarthy is not a good coach, okay? like I don't care how he cut it, all these retreads. Man, I'm tired of these retreads too in the NFL. Get some fresh blood in here because this is not working no more. Unless you're gonna get Tony Dungy or Bill Coward.
No, they're getting their retread. The Cowboys are getting their retread next year. Sean Payton.
You're gonna have to do something, and Jerry's gonna have to get out of the way because it doesn't make sense.
Sean Payton is coming. Look, I'm gonna be rooting for the Dallas Cowboys all I can. But I'm not betting against. I've bet against Tom Brady way too many times in the 6 years I've done this. I've bet against him plenty of times where, Tom's not going to do this. And what does he do? He comes out and magically at the end of the game, somehow the kicker is kicking a field goal to win the game. So that's where I'm going with the NFL playoff. So I gotta go Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay wins on a game-winning field goal. So I'm gonna go 23-20.
And it doesn't look good how y'all just finished against Washington. So that's even more why I gotta go on the Tampa side, man. That didn't look good at all.
No.
3 field goals to the Commanders, 22 points. That's not a bright sign for the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't really put much stock in it. I mean, they couldn't even catch a snap from the punter. The punter couldn't even catch a snap. I don't know what the Cowboys were doing that game. They were just like, whatever, let's get out of here. So I don't trust it. I don't trust this coaching staff to do what they need to do to win. And they're going to put the game in Dak's hands, and that's not a recipe to win. So, if the Cowboys win, I'll be excited. But if they lose, a lot of people are going to come and say, "Oh, sorry about the Cowboys," and I'm going to be like, "They made the playoffs." That's all I was expecting out of this team. I mean,
but I have a question for you before we get out of here or whatever. Do you think Brock Purdy could handle the pressure going to Philly?
Going to Philly, no.
That's a different story.
I think going to Philly, I think that's going to be the X factor. If we get down that far.
That's where they got to go next, right? If they win, right?
No. San Francisco doesn't have to face them till the championship game. They're the number 2 seed.
Okay, they're the number 2 seed. So
they're the 2 seed. They get they get the Vikings, or they either get the Vikings or they get the winner of Tampa Bay Dallas.
Okay. That's a little feasible for them.
Because it all depends on how it breaks down. Because if the Vikings win, it's a guarantee 49ers versus Vikings. But if the Giants win, then it could change because lower seed would go to Philly, and the Giants would be the lowest seed left. So Giants would go to Philly, and then Tampa Bay, Dallas would go to San Francisco, which I'm not gonna lie to you. If Dallas were to win, I want to see Dallas San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. Just for my own personal, not even because of the Dallas Cowboys. I want to be able to have my guy Niners Faithful on and rouse it up with him because I love having Niners Faithful on. So I hope that's the one reason I hope the 49ers do pretty well and get going because I love talking with him. He's He's a good dude.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a lot of this is a break and make. I think after this, man, can you really go back to Trey Lance after these performances from Brock Purdy?
I don't think you have a choice. I think the 49ers have boxed themselves into a corner where, I mean, you not only spent a high draft pick on Trey Lance, you traded 2 other draft picks to get him, and you're going to get 1 game out of him, 1 terrible game in Chicago. I mean, we'll talk about that in the offseason, but I think you have to pencil in Trey Lance number 1. But what's going to happen is now there's a fire. There's a hey, if Trey Lance doesn't perform in the offseason, if he has a terrible preseason, you're able to look at him and say, we're going with this guy. We're going to go with Purdy. So you better, Trey, you better show us something.
Or it might be the opposite way. Brock Purdy might say, I want to go to a team where I got a chance. Trade me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Mr. Irrelevant contracts work. So
yeah, I don't know either.
That's the other thing that could be really cool. Like, the 49ers could make out like bandits here. I mean, you talk about Russell Wilson. They talked about Russell Wilson having a great contract, being a 3rd round pick. You talk about the very last pick in the draft. That contract can't be anywhere.
He was getting kicker money. Russell Wilson in the first couple of years, he was getting kicker money.
Yeah, and he was a 3rd round. He was drafted at the top of the 3rd round. This is a guy who was drafted very dead last, 7th round last pick. That's got to be, hundreds of thousands. We're not even talking millions of dollars. We're not even talking $1 million contracts at that point. So the 49ers will have an interesting way to go, but they'll have options. That's what Purdy does, is it gives them options. So
I think they need another receiver, man, to really go over the top, man. I think they need
a
true number 1. A true number 1.
They need an outside guy because Brandon Ayuk's not a number 1 wide receiver. Debo is a guy that you have to play him in the slot. You can't line him up on the wide and expect him to go against the best corner every play. I agree. I agree with you. And the thing about the 49ers is they're not going to have much of an offseason because I think they have like 2 draft picks.
Damn.
They have like 2 or 3 because they gave up their 1st rounder for Trey Lance. They gave up their 2nd and 3rd rounder for Christian McCaffrey.
Do you think that trade was worth it if they
get to the Super Bowl, it's worth it.
If they don't get through the Super Bowl, it's not worth it. It's like building. You know what this kind of remind me of? Remember when the Eagles got all them players and tried to make that dream team? This is what it kind of feels like to me. You remember they got everybody from what's that corner from the Raiders?
Oh, they had Nnamdi Asomugha.
Yeah, Asomugha. They had it was getting everybody. Vince Young was on the team as a backup. Everybody was on that team.
Yeah. Vince Young, Alshon Jeffrey. They were just bringing everybody in. But the difference is this 49ers team is the 2nd best team in the NFC. And judging on how it breaks down, I mean, we've already seen we saw Dallas beat Philly once. Could the 49ers could end up hosting a NFC championship game? Was it worth it? Was it worth it if they get knocked out in the NFC champ? Again, for me, if my team makes the playoffs, I'm happy. If they give me a nice, decent run, which is I consider NFC Championship game a decent run. Is it worth it? I think it was. I think it was the way they use Christian McCaffrey is amazing, and if they keep him long term, definitely worth it. I mean,
I just think he's not going to last long term. You know what I mean? That's a lot to ask of
he
that
made it.
man's body.
He made it through this. He made it through this season. So,
But you keep seeing another. How much longer do you think he got out of that body? Really, at that frame. I'm gonna say about
2 or 3 years.
Maybe 2.
Yeah. And if you're the 49ers and you're I mean, no matter what they do next year, no matter what they do, even without a quarterback, they're going to be one of the, when we talk about, all right, who's a contender, they're a contender. And that's because they have Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. And if they bring in they don't have draft picks. So if they bring in if they're able to bring in a top flight wide receiver, I don't know the free agent market, but if there's a free agent out there and they can go out and get somebody, that would.
It is ways to beat them.
There are. That's the great thing about the NFL playoffs is every team has a flaw, and every team can be knocked out at any point. And that's the great thing about that. That's what makes the NFL playoffs so such a wonderful thing, such a wonderful event. It's what makes it fun to watch. Is anybody like we've said, we talked about, Buffalo is going to destroy Miami. Well, guess what? If Josh Allen throws 3 interceptions and fumbles the ball like he has in some games this season, Miami could sneak away with a win. It can happen.
That'd be the greatest upset in playoff history. You gotta put that up there with a third string quarterback, and you blow out Buffalo. Yeah, Mike McDaniel's stock is going up.
We could say it right now. I can't argue with you off the top of my head, thinking of an upset, of another upset like that, but it would definitely be devastating.
You turned it into Robo Johnson instead of Josh Allen. That's like, you remember them Buffalo teams with Robo Johnson throwing them picks.
Rob Johnson, yeah. Jesus, you're going back to, I would love to see. I just want the Bills. I want the Bills in the AFC. I want the Bills to get through. One, because Colin and all the guys that I watch, I got Colin and Larry. They're all Buffalo fans that I watch with down at the bar every Sunday. So it would be nice to be able to have a rooting interest against them. And that's why I want Dallas, San Francisco in the championship game, because our bar is a Dallas, San Francisco bar. It'll be a San Francisco bar tonight. It'll be a Dallas bar on Monday. And I just want the Super Bowl to be an event rather than, last year it was like, all right, nobody here is a Rams fan, so who cares? Nobody here is a Bengals fan, so, I would love to have a rooting interest no matter what, and just be able to kind of poke fun at whoever's in there. And if the Cowboys are in there, obviously I'll be happy with that. So that's what I'm rooting for. What do I think will happen? I'm thinking it's going to be the top seed. I know top seeds suck, but sucks to say, but I think Philly, Kansas City, it's Philly and Kansas City to lose right now.
How crazy would it be if Jacksonville went on a run and got there to the Super Bowl? How crazy would that be?
It wouldn't shock me at all. And
Yo, Trevor Lawrence is what is his second year or third year?
wouldn't shock me at all because of that guy in the front office.
Oh my God.
Tom Coughlin's done it with less. All right. Tom Coughlin has gotten less to the Super Bowl. And I don't need to remind you what happens when Tom Coughlin teams get to the Super Bowl.
Hurts.
So
hurts right there.
So again, what the Jaguars are doing does not shock me because of the respect I have for Tom Coughlin and for Doug Peterson.
WP is definitely a great coach, man.
I think that'll be the funnest game to watch out of all the playoff games. Chargers, Jaguars. I know a lot of people that are going to be like, we don't want to watch this. I think it's going to be the closest one because I think it's the closest matchup. It's the two teams that are pretty much dead even.
Yo, Beats, how fun was it watching that Eagle team though, man? I know you're an NFC East guy, but Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount just running over people at will. And Nelson Aguilar was on that team. He was pretty good on that team. Wasn't dropping the ball too much in that playoff run. And who's the other receiver on that team that year? I forgot that guy's name. I think Torrey Smith was on that team. Torrey Smith was on there.
Torrey Smith was on that team. I think he caught a touchdown.
Man, that team was definitely fun to watch. Man.
Who didn't catch a touchdown in that Super Bowl?
Oh my
Nick
God.
Foles caught a touchdown in that Super Bowl. Jesus.
And then we try to run the same play.
Yeah. And that was the moment I was like, no. I was like, Tom Brady, no.
Oh my God. How great that would have been if he could have got it in the end zone. Doing that shit.
If he had caught that pass, he would have been broken in half.
He's so slow.
Exactly. He's so slow. And guess what? When you catch the ball like that, you don't have quarterback protection, Mr. Brady. If Tom Brady ever tried that play and I was on the sidelines, I would say, look, if they have that play, hit him. I don't care if it's after the play. I don't even care. Just hit him.
Hey, Deets, are you going to watch the XFL this year?
Absolutely. I love the
Did you see Albert Heinsworth he's a head coach?
Is he?
People. Yeah.
That's cool.
Heinsworth, I think the DC team, Greg Williams is the defensive coordinator. I'm definitely watching right there. He's one of my favorite defensive coordinators of all time. Him and Wade Phillips.
Absolutely.
They just brought ferociousness.
I'll be watching the XFL for one reason.
Why?
My man Cole McDonald. Remember that name because he is the best guy. When this guy played in college, he played in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Threw the ball about 900 times a game. But here's what he did. All right. First game I'm ever watching of him, I'm like, all right, who is this guy? He got his helmet on. He's a white dude.
Okay.
With dreads coming out the back of his jersey. But then he takes his helmet off and he's got war paint all over his face. And I'm like, this is the quarterback? Yeah. He had the eye black smeared. Like he was absolute legit. Like I was like, this guy's a psycho. And then you watch him throw and he'd throw like 500 yards a game. But the problem is he would throw like 5 touchdowns, but he'd throw like 5 interceptions too.
What happened to the quarterback with Coastal? Is he still there or is he coming out? What's going on with him?
For Coastal Carolina?
Yeah. The mullet. What is he doing?
Oh, he has not declared yet.
Because the coach left, right? The head coach went to Liberty, right?
Yeah. You're talking about Grayson McCall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's He hasn't declared what he's going to do because he has a year of eligibility left. And I'll tell you right now, if I'm him, get into this draft.
I think he's way better than that Kentucky quarterback. What's his name?
Will Levis?
Yeah, he's way better than him.
Yeah, Connecticut's very own Will Levis. I know him very well, but he's I don't know how they got Will Levis as any kind of a top pick. That's why I'm saying if I'm Grayson McCall, if Grayson McCall, I know he listens to the program, so I'm telling you right now, dude, go to the NFL. You're not going to get any better than you are, and I'm not saying he's not going to get better. He'll get better by a year in college. Everybody does, but your draft stock is never going to be higher than it is right now, and there's no question about it. You can go in and be a backup quarterback in the NFL, and
what do you think would be the ideal spot for him to be a backup at?
No, there's plenty of spots. Tennessee, Indianapolis. There's plenty of spots where you could be the backup quarterback and you could end up starting by week 3. With what they got going on there. Seattle. You could go to Seattle, be a backup quarterback, and not even you could be drafted there and end up being the starter day one. Without Seattle, I mean, you think Geno Smith is gonna? No. Geno Smith had a great season this year, but you think he's gonna pull that out again? I don't think. I think Seattle's going to go in a different direction. So Seattle's a spot.
I'm just proud. I'm just proud of him what he did though to change his career around because it was looking pretty bad.
Chicago would be a spot where you could be a backup. I mean, it would suck because you'd have to be behind that offensive line. Mm. But if you're the backup, Justin Fields is getting hurt at some point. Mm-hmm. Look at that offense. Look what happened this year. So if you want to be a backup and play a little bit, Chicago is always a chance because Justin Fields is the way he plays is he's going to get hurt.
They don't got no Tarzan on. They don't got no Tarzans on that line. They got a bunch of Janes. Mm-hmm. Are you expect? How you going to expect?
Exactly, and that's why we opened the show with the Bears. Just take the best offensive lineman. Don't even worry about where they play on the line. Just take them. Take the best offensive lineman you can get. And with the number 1 pick, like I said, right now, I would take the kid from Michigan. I would take the center from Michigan and be like, yeah, we just got a guy who's going to be on our team for the next 10 years.
Do you see anything happening with Detroit? You think Detroit drafts a quarterback? I think they should.
I don't think they give up on Jared Goff right now.
I'm saying somebody for Jared Goff is up there in age, right? He's got to be 30. Got to be at least probably 34, 35.
Ooh, Jared Goff.
He's been there a while.
Jared Goff is the same age as Carson Wentz. So whatever age Carson Wentz is, that's just the age that Jared Goff is. I think he's 32. 32, 33, somewhere around there. Just off top of my head.
Damn, he's not even that.
Yeah. What is he?
28. Damn, 28? I thought he was older than
that. So yeah, they're not going to give up on Jared Goff. Jared Goff had a great season for them.
Do you see them building on that defense then?
I
think they need another corner.
I think the Lions need secondary help.
Linebacker help too.
I said that for years on them, but they need an offensive line. They need an offensive line that can block, and now you need another tight end. Mm-hmm. And you traded away T.J. Hawkinson, so you might as well. I mean, where they're drafting, because they got the Rams pick, so they got the sixth. I think the sixth pick in the draft.
What you grabbing? What you grabbing?
If Michael Mayer is there, tight end from Notre Dame, I'd give him a serious look. Again, I'd have to look at who's going to go in front of the Lions to see what exactly I would do. But my first option would be Michael. If Michael Mayer's there, I'm taking him.
What about you? But with the Texans, because I'm hearing reports. C.J. Stroud might stay at Ohio State for another year.
Yeah,
have you been hearing
that? I totally expect CJ. I think CJ Stroud is back. I haven't seen him sign up for any of the off-season games, so I would think I think CJ Stroud would be smart to stay back. Because Bryce Young is going. I'm not even penciling it in. I'm gonna write that with a feather and ink. Bryce Young is going to the Texans at number 2. I don't think there's a better. I don't think there's a better quarterback in college football right now than Bryce. I mean, what more do you want Bryce Young to do? Guy won a Heisman, led his team, and everything you've seen from him is, that whole Heisman run. Everybody talked about he reads defenses at an NFL level. Well, there you go. And the only thing about Bryce Young that would make you laugh is who was his offensive coordinator at Alabama? Bill O'Brien.
Yeah. Where
did Bill O'Brien coach? Houston.
Yeah.
So it would just be a funny connection that they would have there. But if you're the Texans, you can't pass up. You can't pass up on Bryce Young.
But the sad thing about it is, what the weapons does he have? He don't have no weapons at the Texans. They don't got 0 weapons. Brandon Cook is your number.
But they also see that's where the Texans come in key, because you could take Bryce Young at 2 because you have the Cleveland's pick, which I think I didn't write the numbers down, but it looks it's also, I think it's 11 or 12.
You think your boy from TCU still be there?
10, 11, 12. Looking at the rosters, I think I think Quentin Johnson will still be there. If he's not, my steal pick,
Jalen White.
I gotta look his name. AJ. I gotta get the last name right. Wide receivers. A.T. Perry.
Okay. Who did he play for last year?
He's my guy. He played for Wake Forest.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
This guy is 6'5", 220.
God damn.
Yeah. You can't teach that, and I would not mind taking him. Other options: Kayshon Boutte, wide receiver from LSU, didn't put up a lot of good numbers this year, but he's as talented as anybody can be, and at the combine, he's gonna shine. Mm-hmm. So those are my wide receivers at the top: Quentin Johnston, Kayshon Boutte, and A.T. Perry. If any of those guys are available for the Texans later on, you could have Bryce Young and one of those guys. All of a sudden, you've got a pretty good connection. If they got Pierce as the running back, so now you just got to build up the rest of that team. All right, it's 3:00, so I'm gonna get out of here because I got to head down to the bar, watch the game with the 49ers guys, and see what's going on. Rod, love having you on the show, and we'll look forward to doing the lunch crew at some point next week.
It might be a late edition, maybe link up and do a late edition one of these days.
Yeah, Totally. If not, we'll be back. We'll be back on Fit Down next week. We'll play it up. We'll see what the best time to do it is. Whether it's Thursday night or whether it's another Saturday edition. It really depends on the NFL schedule, how it works out, because I know they got games on Saturday and Sunday, so we might do the same thing next week. Do a Saturday show, get you ready for the games, and watch the games, see what happens. So that's the plan for next week. Till then, we will see y'all next time, and enjoy the playoffs. You got 3 days of playoffs. We got Saturday, Sunday, and the big game on Monday.
I'm about to enjoy me a Jack and Coke and watch the game at the crib. So
that's the best way to do it. I don't have cable, so that's why I have to go to the bar.
Yeah.
That's why I have to go to the bar, but also the 49ers fans are there, so usually they get pretty wild during their games, and usually I can get some free drinks out of them. So
All
right, man. Have a good one. Everybody, we'll talk to y'all later. This is Fit Down Sports Show. Rod Uncensored. Everybody go like Rod, subscribe. Look, it helps everybody. Like, subscribe to everybody who comes on any show that you're watching. Like and subscribe. It really helps out the algorithm. So get after it. We'll talk to y'all next time. Nope, I got to stay. I got to end the broadcast. Forgot about that.